Hello guys, today we are going to study Pramanas, which is a very important questions in the NET exam and people generally find it difficult. So let's start with it. Pramana means source of knowledge or measure. It means by which people obtain accurate and valid knowledge. So that means okay, any kind of knowledge which we get which is accurate and which is valid, that will be called as Pramana. There are four bases of Pramana. First is called as Prama. Prama means true or correct knowledge. It is a right knowledge. For example, we will consider rope as rope and not as snake. So that is going to be the Prama, that is a true knowledge. Second is Pramata. Pramata means the knower, that is the subject. That is we as people. We get the knowledge. We get the knowledge from books, we get the knowledge from television, internet, magazines. So the person is going to be Pramata. Third is Pramana. Pramana means the means of obtaining knowledge, where we get the knowledge from or how we get the knowledge from. Okay, so there are five sense organs which gives us the knowledge. That's going to be eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. So whatever knowledge is there around our world, we get through these five sense organs. So they will be called as Pramata. And last is Prameya. Prameya means the objects of true knowledge. That is knowledge obtained from universe. Whatever knowledge we have got from ancient times or from the universe, that's going to be the Prameya. For example, Panchadhatu, Panchatantra, Pancharatna, Panchatantra or Nakshatra. Okay, all those things are going to be Prameya. So there are four bases of Pramanas. Prama, which means the true or correct knowledge. Pramata, which means the knower. Pramana, which means the means for obtaining knowledge, and Prameya, that means the objects of true knowledge. Now there are different types of Pramanas, and this here comes the very important question. What are going to be these different types of Pramanas? The first type is going to be Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is non-erroneous cognition. Non-erroneous, that means there can't be any error in this cognition is understanding. So whatever we see Pratyaksha, hear Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means okay, what is there in front of you. So that is something is going to be non-erroneous cognition. Cognition is understanding thinking. So knowledge through direct perception, that is through sense organs. So what is this Pratyaksha Pramana is? Whatever knowledge we are getting with our five sense organs. Already I told you these five sense organs are going to be eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue and mind. Mind is also there. Okay, so whatever knowledge we get from this Pratyaksha, that is going to be the Pratyaksha Pramana. It is also called as first source of knowledge, and there are two types of this Pramana, that is direct perception and indirect perception. Direct perception is called as Shruti and indirect perception is called as Smriti. Direct perception is also known as Laukik or ordinary perception. Indirect perception is called as Alaukik or extraordinary perception. So direct perception, guys, you know that we get directly from our five sense organs. But indirect perception, we get it okay with our sixth sense, which is called as inner sense or feeling. Okay, there is something called as sixth sense. Sometimes we feel that something is going to happen or some good or bad is going to come in the future. That is something our sense organs is telling us or our sixth sense is telling us. So that's going to be indirect perception, or it is called as smriti. That means your mind is telling you that. So basically Pratyaksha has two types of pramanas, direct and indirect perception, which is also called as Shruti or Smriti or Laukik or Alaukik Pramana. Second is going to be Anumana. So first was Pratyaksha, second is going to be Anumana. Anumana is the second type of Pramana, which is also called as assumption, interference, indirect perception or mediate. Remember all these different names of Anumana because it can come in the exam. So the indirect perception is called as Anumana, or interference is called as Anumana, or assumption is called as Anumana. So what Anumana exactly means? It means knowledge based on previous knowledge or experience or sign or mark. Like whatever knowledge we have got in the past, on the basis of that we try to understand the present. That is called as knowledge based on previous knowledge. Now, Anu means after and Mana means knowledge. So, it is also known as later knowledge or after knowledge. So, Anu is after and Mana means knowledge. So, after knowledge, like whatever knowledge we have got in past, so that knowledge will be called as Anumana. Now there are types of Anumana. So this Anumana is divided, okay, as per three classification. There are three different ways it has been divided. The first classification is known as Nyaya Darshana. Then there is second classification, and there is third classification, which is on the basis of Tarka Sangraha. We are going to study these different types in detail. So first let's see the classification on the basis of Nyaya Darshana. On the basis of Nyaya Darshana, there are two types of Anumana. One is Swartha Anumana and second is Prartha Anumana. Swartha means self. When you are convincing self, when you are trying to give examples to yourself, that time it is going to be Swartha Anumana. You do not need to give any formal statement for it. But Prartha Anumana is convincing other. Prartha means others. And when you're trying to convince others, okay, you need to give, okay, formal statements, or you need to give some example or udharana to convince them. For example, when a person few times observe fumes along with fire on the hill, he creates an association between fumes and fire. Definitely, whenever a person sees fire and fumes, fumes means smoke on the hills, he comes to know that yes, whenever there is a fire, there is a smoke. Later on, when a person sees only fumes on the hill, with the help of his prior knowledge, he infers that there must be fire on the hill. Later, whenever a person comes to know, like whenever there is a fumes coming from the hills or on the hills, he will definitely try to relate it that yes, the fume is there, that means there has to be fire, because fumes or smoke cannot be there without fire. So this is his knowledge which he has got, which he has convinced himself. So that is Swarthanumana. But when he is trying to convince others, when a person tries to explain his inference of fire from the presence of fumes over the hilly area to some other person to make him get knowledge about it. For example, when you're telling someone else that yes, whenever there are fumes, there is a fire, you need to give them example. So you give the example of kitchen. Like kitchen also, whenever you see there is a fire, there is a fume coming out. Whenever mom is cooking something on the in kitchen, you can see the fumes are coming, the smoke is coming. So smoke comes only when there is a fire. So whenever you are explaining your friend that yes, in the hilly region, the hill is on fire because there is a fume or there is a smoke, you give the example of kitchen. So that is giving a formal statement. That's Prarthanumana. So on the basis of Nyaya Darshana, there are two types of Anumana, Swarthanumana and Prarthanumana. Prarthanumana is divided into different stages. These five stages are very, very, very important for the NET exam. Sure, they ask a question on the basis of this. So first stage is called as Pratijana, which is called as premise, statement or proposition. Whenever you give any statement, for example, the mountain is on fire. This is just a statement, a sentence, that is called as Pratijana or premise. But why the fire is on mountain? How you are saying the fire is on mountain? There has to be some reason or ground, which is called as hetu. Why I am saying the mountain is on fire? Because of the presence of the fumes. I can see the smoke coming out of mountain. I can see the fumes coming out of mountain. For that, I can say that yes, the mountain is on fire. But to prove my point, I need to give some udharana, example or illustration. So what example I'll give you? Whenever you see in the kitchen, there is a fume, there is a fire. Okay, whenever the smoke is coming while cooking, that means mommy is cooking something on the fire. So that kitchen example, I can give it in case of mountain also. As in the kitchen, we see fumes whenever there is a fire. Definitely on mountain also, if I'm seeing the fumes, there has to be fire. Upanaya is application. Okay, and I'll apply my kitchen ka knowledge in case of mountain also. So the mountain has smoke which is invariably associated with fire. So I'm associating smoke with the fire. Why I'm saying the mountain is on fire? Because I can see the fumes or smoke is coming. So smoke and fire are invariably associated with each other. That's the application of my prior knowledge. And last is Nigmana, means conclusion. So therefore I can say that the mountain has fire because there is a fumes, or there is a smoke which is coming out of the mountain. So these are five stages. One is Pratijana, which is premise, Hetu, which is reason or ground, Udharana, that is example or illustration, Upanaya, that is application, and Nigmana, that is conclusion. I hope you have understood at least two of these pramanas very well. Thank you guys.